I'm not gonna waste too much time getting into this. We have more BWs playing the blame game in their local area. Let's go ahead and spin a clip.
Very nice comment, and I think one of the reasons why I'm single, if I were to be honest with myself, is that I was blocking a lot of my blessings. I always thought I was going to marry a black man. I've only seriously dated black men, and for the past few months or so, I've only been on dates with black men. And the more that I go on dates with black men, the more that I realize majority of black men, at least single black men who live in New York, do not want black women.
Accusations! These are not accusations. This is false accusations. And
this is just like anecdotally with friends and their dating situations, with my own situations. When I'm just walking around, I'm seeing so many black men who are not with black women. And so for a while, I had this vision of my life and who I was going to marry, and I was going to marry a black man. I was going to have that sort of black love. I was going to have these dark chocolate Hershey Kiss babies. Like, that is what I always saw for my life. But the past few months, I realized that I don't know if that's going to happen. And so it took me some time, but now I think I'm more open, more than now, than dating outside of my race. I don't know why I was pushing so hard to be with this group of people who like really doesn't want us. A few months back, I was on a date. I did not make a video about it, but this guy basically said that his type is Sydney Sweeney. This is a black man. And I was just sitting across from him like, what am I going to do with that information? Obviously, I don't look like her. She's beautiful. She's great. But if that's your preference, why are you on a date with me?
because I'm high.
So now,
Hold on 1 second. So he said that he's attracted to women like Sydney Sweeney, and you assume that he was talking about her race. What if he just liked women who had the same facial structure, or it's just about her aesthetic beauty, not because she's actually white? It's proof that that's where your focus is centered. So that's the conclusion that you came to, because it seems like all the conclusions that you come to, there's like a racial spin on it. You see this with a lot with black women when they're not getting the results they want in the dating market. They make it about race, or they make it about colorism, or they try to act like they're being discriminated against, when the reasons are actually a lot more obvious.
now that I'm more at peace with that idea, that vision of mine not coming to fruition, I'm hoping that by making peace with that and letting go of it, I'm letting in room for something else and something incredible. So, whoever that might be. So this summer, I'm going to focus on dating outside of my race. And if someone comes along who happens to be a black man and it works out, that's great. But it is no longer the main focus.
Now, this lady is allowed to date whoever she wants. I'm not saying that she should be exclusive to black men. That's not the kind of man that I am. I don't preach a Dr. Umar style message.
I beg your pardon.
Even though black women are the women that I'm the most attracted to, I don't say that all black men should only stay exclusive to black women. I don't believe that there are enough marriageable women for black men to just stay exclusively loyal to black women. It wouldn't look right. There would be a lot of marriageable men, marriageable black men without partners, correct matches that make it make sense. I think it's just hard for me to stomach this because black men take so much heat for trying to date interracially, or even trying to open up a conversation about dating interracially. Successful black men take a lot of slander if they choose to date outside of their race. It's almost like a summons to their race card just to date a white woman, even one time in their life. Shannon Sharpe is having to deal with it.
Snow Bunny Shannon Sharpe, you're the biggest and strongest of everybody on the list, so I'm going to have to sentence you for 10,000 lashes for conduct unbecoming a black man and saying that no black woman can make you happy. 10,000 lashes for Snow Bunny Shannon Sharpe.
They try to say, black man, if you want to go over there and get your white girl, just go date her. Don't diss black men on your way over there. And I agree with that sentiment. I don't like when black men go and date white women and they have to say something negative about black women on the way over there. Just go do better for yourself. We don't have to tear each other down just to make a different decision in the dating market, so on and so forth. Other men who have been successful are having to deal with having to basically answer to the black community for why they preferred white women at a particular time in their life. And it's unfair because black women get to talk about how they want to date other races of men, and they oftentimes diss black men on the way to doing it.
As a dark-skinned black woman with black features, 4C, unkept, unlaid hair, one of the best things I've done for my dating life is to stop dating black men. Sorry. Most very successful upper echelon black guys are extremely colorist, and even if they do date black women, it's typically like, you know, you're a 7 versus white chocolate. Like, we are just so loved and exotic all over the world that it's night and day.
Stop it. Get some help.
The way white men versus black men approach dating are very different, and what it really does come down to is the lack of money that black men have. This is from a social and generational standpoint. So a white boy I've talked to in the past, the way he dated me was very intentional. He was very assertive, and he just had a provider mentality. And this is because he had a white father treat his white mother in a two-parent household in that way. A lot of black men sadly don't have these same experiences because they never saw their black father treat their black mother in that way because their black father was never around.
How many of these TikToks do we see? How many have we reacted to on this channel already? There's something like 240,000 males in the population of New York, and she claims to have met every single black man that exists within that populace. So she's been all over one of the biggest cities in the world and dated every single man and came to this conclusion. And that's an exaggeration because of course she didn't do that. She probably never graced the surface of dating most of the black men in New York, but she had a few bad experiences. Now it's time to blast all black males, make it seem like black men don't want black women, which is disingenuous. Let's continue.
That by making peace with that and letting go of it, I'm letting in room for something else and something incredible.
Yeah. That's not gonna happen.
What happened in your dating experience to where you're now like,
It's a lot of pressure on black men, specifically dating black women. And I love black women. Social media and the culture has put a lot of pressure on us. This could be just based on environment. When I moved to Atlanta, you know, women here are very entitled. And listen, I'm not blaming anybody, so I don't want this to turn into
when you say entitled though, what does entitled mean?
I'll say financially entitled. I feel extreme pressure. And I get hit on by white women, I get hit on by all kinds of women. But when I get hit on by black women, I immediately feel this entitlement of, I gotta pay for something.
Wow.
I gotta pay your rent. I gotta help you with your car note immediately within 2 weeks. Or I'm just saying what I've experienced. I'm not saying that's every woman. Nowadays, if I take somebody on a date,
$400
immediately, and I don't even drink. So if she drink, that's the couple hundred. If the hookah's 45,
dessert?
Lamb chops is 50, dessert. So by the time
Valet.
I was just getting ready to say valet. So we didn't spend $400 for me to see if you like me.
Say that again.
So it's like I'm spending. That's just the first date. You want to go out again. I didn't spend $1,000 on 3 dates just to see if you might call me back or maybe text me back. And then because you're a beautiful woman, if you don't like me, you can go get the next man to do the same thing.
He ain't lying. So eloquently put. Men have to start deciding how much time are you going to spend taking women on dates, having these long text message conversations, spending hours on the phone with her, going places with her, and you're not quite sure when you're going to be able to like get what you came there for. You hear a lot of stories of men dating women 4 or 5 months and dating them, spending a lot of money, gas, time, and energy, and resources, and he's not even quite sure if she'll ever put out. And I just don't think that these are positive and healthy situations that men can find themselves in. It usually is bad for the man's self-esteem, and this is how you get a lot of these red pill ragers and guys who are now just incredibly angry at women, and they're so angry that you can't even pull them back. It's because they've allowed themselves to be suckers so many times that now they've just moved to bitterness and they can't get out of that place. Shouts out to the ladies who were on this panel. It seems like they were very open to listening to this black man. You don't see that a lot in these podcast spaces where a black man makes a compelling point, and then you see the women on the panel seem to be listening and taking it in, not just in agreement, but just treating him like a human. He said entitlement, which is a very important word in this conversation. You have black women saying, I don't even know you, and I want you to date me, but you need to be paying me to date me.
How much should a guy spend on a first date in Miami?
In Miami?
Like over $100, probably like $200.
Well, I mean, I think that's minimum.
The average
because
bill is
everything
like
is expensive. But
Does that mean that he's gonna get afterwards?
No, it does not mean that.
not necessarily. It depends on the vibe for me.
So if he's spending $250 on a first
You
date,
might get a kiss.
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then. I don't deal with you big sassy ass broads.
No different than the one girl who was like, the guy sent her $30 for lunch and she thought it should have been $100. It's just where are women drawing up these numbers and deciding how much money a man should spend on her before the guy's even gotten a chance to get to know her well. I don't think that women consider how awful this sounds and how greedy it sounds, how immature it sounds. And if you're dealing with a guy who cares about his financial well-being and the well-being of his life, he's not going to just date a woman who's going to cost a lot of money on the front end during the process where we don't even know if we want to invest in each other long term. What woman would respect a man that's willing to spend $20,000 to $30,000 in the beginning and you don't even know the woman, or be paying the woman's rent? A lot of guys start saying, what bill do you got? A lot of you guys are DMing women and like, you need a bill paid. Don't lead like that. That's how you end up only being a wallet to her. And then when you decide to get serious and you realize that she has other guys who she takes serious while you're cashing out on her, you're going to get mad. Hit the subscribe button on your way out of the room. Also hit the like button and the notification bell so you can be notified every single time we post content just like this. Until next time.